I'm going to try and create a drawing of a part that doesn't have a flat surface. So I made the part body the in-work object, and I'm going to go into Sketch. Slide this down here, and we're going to go into the Sketch workbench. I'm just going to create a simple profile, and I'm going to start with a line and come up here and just do kind of a curve by doing a click and drag to get a curve up here. Then I'll click here, and I'm going to go straight down, click here, and I'll go straight over here, and I'm going to click here. And now I have a closed profile. So when I analyze this, it tells me my profile is closed. But I'm going to do something here. I'm going to take this line here, and I'm going to make it a construction line. So under the Sketch tab, the feature axis, all I have to do is axis the axis with the axis highlighted already, and it will say yes to convert it to an axis. When I go back to analyzing this, it's no longer saying a closed profile, it's an open profile with an axis that closes it. So to constrain this, what I would do is create a constraint in the Sketch tab using constraints. I'm going to constrain the length of that line, enter, and I'm going to constrain from the center of that arc to this line. Shoot, sometimes that's a real bugger to get. See if I can try that again. Constrain this line and see if I can get that point to come up, which is right here. Notice I'm kind of pausing. I'm trying to get it to get that point, but it's just getting that line. What I'll do is I will try a constraint on this arc, and then I will select this line here and this line here, and I'm going to use the dialog box, which is the second one here, that allows me to apply those as datums. The H and V gets highlighted in red. We have to remove those because it's over constraint otherwise. I'll select OK. So the problem is it doesn't know where the center of the arc is. It knows where this end of this line is, and it knows this line has to be tangent to this arc. But I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to see if auto constraint can't figure out how to constrain that for me. I just say OK, and it's controlling that flat. I was trying to get it to get a dimension to that center point, but I can't get it to grab that center point. It's only going to grab that line. Anyways, I got this part fully constrained for now. I analyze it just to verify it is constrained. Under the Standard tab, we can now exit the Sketch workbench, and in the Model tab, we have a feature called Shaft. This allows us to do a revolution. And when I select the Shaft tab or feature, this axis I created in Sketch is by default the revolution. It defaults to make a full 360-degree revolution. I'll select OK. Now I've got a part and I want to create a drawing of this. So I'm going to go to 3D, and we're going to go into the drafting workbench. So I'll pick the drafting workbench here. And first thing you should do is go to View Layout and Page Layout feature to go ahead and create a border. I'm just going to use sample 2, and we're in America, so we're doing ANSI ASME drawings. So say OK to the change, and let's go with the C-size drawing. So ANSI ASME C-size landscape sample 2 option, go ahead and hit create and select OK. Afterwards, you want to zoom up here on this title block, and then you got to edit that. Remember, you got to go to right click, edit sheet background, and edit all this information. So when I go to edit background, it turns gray. You can edit all this information. To go back and create the views, we go back to edit sheet, and it's a white background, which allows me to add the views. So when I go to view, when I go to layout, I want to start with my front view. So when I select front view, I pick on the part that I made up here, the tab on top, and I don't have a flat surface to pick on. So if you just try and grab this, it's not going to know what to do. So what I got to do is actually select this plane right here. But because I'm halfway selected on this, it's trying to define something. So I don't know how to get out of this. You're going to have to hit undo. Click off of it. Still not let me out. Okay. So I don't know how to get out of it. I just go back here and I turn this on and off again. Then I come back, and instead of grabbing this part, I grab on this plane here, and it defines that flat surface so it's on that front view. Then I can move this here. Okay, so there's my front view. I can grab the red box and move it down. I can go to project a view with that view active and create that top view. Project another view with this red box still around that one. I could just put my cursor over here and it'll create that view. And then this box right here, we can go to isometric view and then click on this part. Just click anywhere on this surface and then click here to create that, and then you can move this over. Remember to use this feature up here in the tree. Now I can see the specification tree, and remember to go to view, right here, view fit all in, so you can see everything. Also, I like to turn the display frames off. So under the view tab, we have this display frame. Just turn it off, and then you can work on it. But when you want to work on it, like let's say I want to make dimensions here, make sure to go to view frame, make sure the red box is on the view you want. So for example, if I want to create dimensions up here, I got to click on this view here on the red box. I'm going to double click this view, or I can double click it up here. That's the top view. So when I go to add constraints, I go to sketch, and I can use the constraints. And we could do something like this. Just like that. Stuck in like that. Select this sphere here. Sorry. We don't want to put a geometrical constraint on this. I'm in the wrong tab. I'm not trying to create a sketch. I'm trying to put annotation on. Annotation is text and dimensions. So you hit annotate. I'm going to hit this down arrow, and we're just going to put on a dimension. So I select this dimension here, and I'm going to grab this edge here, and dimensions that diameter. I'm going to hit Control Z and undo that. The best thing though is to use this center line to mark this so it knows where to dimension that from, and then go to dimension, create this dimension here, create another dimension on this one. Remember, these are, and for whatever reason it defaults to ISO standards. So what I do is I just create the dimensions, highlight everything, right click on one of them, and go to properties. So under properties, we can change these dimensions from feet. By the way, I'm in dimension extension lines, dimension line tolerance. See if I can make this bigger so you guys can see this. Dimension text, font, These are the things you have to go in and modify. Okay. Under, I got to use an arrow to go all. I got to use these arrows over here to go all the way to the left to hit value. Under value, you want to change this to numDinc. That's decimals in inches. And 2-place or 4-place precision. ANSI, ASME precision. Select OK. See how that changed that. But also we have to have horizontal leaders and only one arrowhead. See how there's multiple arrowheads? So really this has to be an arrowhead pointing to the circle for ANSI ASME specs. Again, we right click and go to properties with everything highlighted. Under dimension line tab, you're going to change regular to 2 places. Regular is ISO standards, 2 parts is ANSI ASME. And we don't want 2 symbols, we want 1 symbol, so we turn off symbol number 2. So we only want 1 arrowhead and a horizontal leader. Select OK. It moves it down there, that's fine. We just got to move these back up. Just grab and click on it and move them up to a new location. Okay. One more time on this one here. I click on this. I got to double click it to make that active. And the first thing I'm going to do is go to center mark, grab the top of this arc. Okay. Oh, that's why I was getting the wrong center arc. So now I can go to annotation constraint and constrain from the bottom to this center mark. To that center mark, click a position. Again, I hit constraint. I'm going to grab this bottom line and move it down. I'm going to hit constraint one more time, and I'm going to click on this curve, click a position. Now, if you double click constraint, you don't have to reactivate it, it stays on. But if you do that, you have to click it again to turn it off. Remember what I did last time is I just highlighted everything, right clicked on one of them, so I could find the properties. So right click to pull up your contextual menu so you can find properties. 2-part is ANSI ASME spec. Single arrowhead. Oh no, sorry, that's for just my arcs. I need 2 arrowheads, and then the value we're going to change to feet or decimals, inches, and precision 2 places. I'll select OK. So I got 2 arrowheads on this, 2 arrowheads on this, but I do need an arrowhead only on one arc. So we're going to right click on this and go to properties. And on that one, dimension line, we turn off this symbol, select OK. Then you can move this off again. I need one more constraint to make this full. So I'm going to use constraint. I'm going to dimension from the bottom of this line to this endpoint over here. And then since I forgot to do that, I got to go back to properties and value tab. Change the value tab to numDinc. All right, so this demo's intent was to help you understand how to lay out views when you don't have a flat surface to work on to make your orthographic views, and then how to go about laying out some dimensions.